This Wyoming team plays a lot of pick and roll, a lot of also pass to the big man, which a lot of the other teams you've faced don't always pass to the big man. Just what do you see from this team in terms of their ability to get into the pick and roll with a lot of different players?
Yeah, they got a lot of good guards. Probably run more actions than anybody in the Mountain West. Every time down is a different action. Does a great job of getting them in sets, giving them a chance to score the basketball. I think they've obviously had a lot of injuries, probably more injury prone than anybody in our conference here of late. But just a very, very well-disciplined team that, for their size, they do as good a job as anybody in the country rebounding the ball, right? So the ability to hit them on every possession is going to be critical because their guards do as good a job rebounding as anybody I've seen this year.
They're also a team, well, I guess first of all, just what's it been like to have a few days off, I guess, in between games?
I think it's good for our players. That's a lot of games in a very short period of time. So today and tomorrow are going to be critical that we get better. Where we got to get better is obviously rebounding the ball. We got to do a better job middle of the shot clock, getting to the next advantage, getting way too stagnant offensively, and then just getting the ball out quicker on makes. We're doing a bad job of teaching that, right? If the other team scores, getting out and trying to create advantage right away. But all in all, to go on the road and hold a team in the 60s, I was really pleased with our defense. So you just have to have a growth mindset. You got to come in today, tomorrow, and really concentrate on ourselves and then also the scout. You're trying to get better as a team, but you're also trying to get ready for Wyoming.
You struggled against some opposing bigs. Gavin Gord, I think his name he's not necessarily kind of an on-the-ball scorer as a big, but there's a lot of cutting. He's the recipient of a lot of those pick and rolls. How do you try and defend him where he does a really good job of scoring off dump-off passes? He's
really, really good at creating advantages with screening. He's one of the best screening bigs in the league. Does a ton of flip screens, right, which at the last second, he's switching the angle of his screen. He does a great job of finishing. Probably top 3 athlete in the conference. For a young kid, he's very, very impressive. He knows who he is. And like I said, when he gets to 2 feet, he's an explosive athlete.
Like you mentioned, they get a lot of production from their guards, scoring, but then also rebounding, doing everything. You guys are a similar team where you kind of rely on your guards to do everything. How do you feel that matches up getting an advantage or disadvantage?
Yeah, first time playing them, so won't know that for about 3 days, Mark. But we'll go into the game plan with certain schemes, right, to try to counter some of the things they're going to do. I'm sure they're going to do that to us. They play man, they play zone. He mixes up his defenses. He'll 3/4 court pressure. Like I said, offensively, they're going to run a ton of stuff. They'll play some 4-guard lineups. He's always kind of done that. I was in the same league with him a couple years ago, so I know his coaching style. I know he's an elite offensive coach. Does a tremendous job getting guys to play hard, and they're usually very skilled. They get the ball side to side, so I think our pick and roll defense and our pass battles will be really critical. Getting off to the ball, shrinking the floor. I thought second half, we didn't have nearly the number of, I'd call scouting error plays, right? Like early in the Colorado State game, we got antsy for steals. We didn't let them naturally come, and they made us pay. The inch outs were not very good in that game, right? So we got to do a better job of when to go, when not to go as far as trying to get steals.
When they beat UNLV, I know it's been almost 3 weeks ago, were they more healthy then? Is it a healthier team, I guess?
I talked to Coach a couple weeks ago, he and I are friends. I just thought that game against UNLV, there's certain times where teams look like almost unbeatable, right? And I thought when you watch Wyoming, their sense of urgency, getting to their actions, playing great defense, that was one of the better Mountain West games, dominant performances I've seen by a team. These guys have been in every game, right? If you start really looking at the scores outside of Boise, at Nevada, New Mexico, the score was a little lopsided, but honestly, I just watched that one, and that was a 6-8 point game in the pit. I think they're as good as anybody in the league when they're healthy. Where I think, their elite is rebounding. So you got to start and end with your ability to keep them off the glass, right? And typically in basketball, it's not the first shot that beats you. Right now, our big Achilles heel is rebounding the ball. So it's a concern.
So after 2 games against Grand Canyon, where you had probably worse defensive games than you have old Colorado State 61. What do you feel like you learned about the team where they were to rebound from 2 kind of bad games on defense?
Yeah, well, I think we learned the character of our team. I think we learned a lot about perseverance, right? Things didn't go very well for a big part of the Colorado State game. Our bench, Colby King, I thought had 2 huge plays. Those steals were big. Elijah Perryman makes a big 3. Gary Clark comes in the game. We make a conscious effort to get him the ball. And then Carson Templin has 2 or 3 of the biggest plays of the entire game, right? A massive block, the last possession where he stayed disciplined and, in my opinion, stopped one of the better post players, one of the best front court players in our league. That's Aggie basketball, right? We over me, playing multiple guys coming in, playing whatever the game needed. Our bench really, helped us out in a lot of areas. So I think we learned a lot about our group, Jason, really.
Coming off that UNLV game where the bench really wasn't that great, and we kind of talked about it, just what did you see in those couple of days leading up to it that made it able to put on that?
Yeah, just, number one, just being honest with people. I think you gain players' trust by being honest, right? And none of us were happy after those 2 losses. It's something that our fan base, our players, our coaches, really not used to that around here, losing 2 games in a row. So, identifying what those problems were, is it shot selection? Is it bad shots hurting our defense? Is it not shrinking the floor? Just correcting some of those things. And then I thought what we did, Johnny Hill gave me this idea. I thought it was really smart. We showed them 4-minute clip of VCU, right? And that was the second game of the season. So we went back and we showed Gary and we showed KT, or actually Zach was on the floor then, but we showed Colby and Elijah Perryman playing really well, right? Sometimes when you're in a funk, you need to be able to get players out of that by showing them how good they are when they're doing, what they're good at. What is Gary good at? He's really good around the rim. He's really good when he gets the ball on the block. So going into the game, I wanted to do a better job of getting him the ball. So at timeouts, we drew up things that we didn't even have in, and they worked every time. So I thought that was really good to show them that the night before the game, and then continue to play them, right? You can go one of 2 ways. You can short your rotations, and now you don't have a bench, or you can live with some of their mistakes. And that group made mistakes, just like the starters, but they figured it out. They played through some of those turnovers, and they provided what we needed, and that's their job, I think, is when they come in the game, whatever the game needs, right, whether it's defense, scoring, they got to be able to sit there and watch the game just for 3 or 4 minutes, and then as they go in, Mark, they're confident of, hey, I see what's going on in this game.
When asked by the throwback jerseys just got announced, wondered if you had any input as for doing that? Or?
No, I don't. I just, I really don't know what's going on with any of that kind of stuff, Jason, to be honest with you. Drake and KT were just in my office. We were joking about, I guess we got another jersey the following week or the week after. I couldn't tell you what we got going on with jerseys or promotions, that sort of thing. I really don't. I do like the jerseys. I did see them. I think we wore those in the 80s. I wasn't a fan of the black jerseys. We didn't play well. I'm kind of superstitious. We've had a lot of success here with those, light and blue ones, so maybe that'll work. I don't know. I don't think the jerseys impact your rebounding or your defense.
You talked about trying to sign guys to NI deals, like looking ahead to next year. Have you made any progress on any of it?
Yeah, we're working through that right now with our legal team at the school. What we're really trying to, establish is, continuity, right? I think if you can keep continuity, you're seeing what's going around college basketball with the eligibility stuff, right? So you're seeing kids that played college basketball a few years ago. They're now eligible. You're seeing foreign kids that are 22 years old. They're freshmen. We as coaches have to try to create a system where we can get continuity within our program, right? And the best way to do that is to develop and retain those guys. You know, we've had 2 years in a row here at Utah State where the university hasn't shared any revenue with us, right? It's you know, we're at a point now moving forward with our new administration and a new plan, figuring all that out, right? Working with Cam, working with Ike, working with their team, just like I'm sure Bronco's going through the portal right now, to figure out how you can keep consistency and continuity within your program. What I'm excited about is not having to do, you know, a meeting every other day to raise money, right? I do think we still need our donors at a capacity that's never gonna, you know, that's never coming to a halt. But this will be the first time in my time here that the school has chipped in with some revenue. So I'm excited to see where that looks like as we sit down and we talk to each player. I want to incentivize things, right? I want some incentives in there for team goals, right? Whether it's the NCAA tournament, conference championships. So calling and talking to different people that are going through it right now has really helped me. But I'm pretty confident that we got a lot of guys that love putting the Aggie uniform on.
Kind of with that, it seems like constantly looking for new ways to generate revenue and things. Seems like, you know, things like these jerseys and like giveaway last week are pretty limited and not really available for sale. Do you have any insight into that?
Yeah, you know, that's more Cam's department. You know, I was included on those interviews. You know, one thing that I loved about Cam being at the University of Tennessee, spending time at Utah Valley, you know, he's went through this, right? He has shared revenue with student athletes. He understands how important it is to retain players. He understands we've got a really good core group. There's not too many coaches in the country would take 5 freshmen. Those 3 freshmen that are redshirting are really good, right? They just haven't played college basketball yet. Those 2 freshmen that are playing are really, really good. So we did it a little bit different. When we heard there was 15 scholarships, we wanted to take and develop guys and get old with guys. But as far as generating revenue, I think there's a lot of different ways, right? There's naming rights on buildings, there's seating, there's a lot of different things that are being talked about. I'm certainly, you know, hear those conversations, but it's really not my department to do that. But as I told them, I've done it pretty much everywhere I've been. So I'm not afraid to work in the off season. I don't, you know, I have a set of golf clubs, but that's not my thing. I want to make sure we maximize, you know, our roster to the fullest. And to be able to do that, I want to be able to retain guys, you know, and as we get those guys signed, Jason, and we'll be sharing that.